The richest person on the planet wants to go to Mars. He believes that investing in this rocky red planet will help protect humanity, safeguarding us from existential threats like nuclear war, pandemics, and climate change. It's a grand, almost mythical vision. And becoming a multi-planetary species? That's a pursuit worth taking seriously, something that deserves global support. But the skeptic in me can't help but wonder, is this just about bettering humanity? Or is it also about gaining control, not just on Earth, but in space? Because historically, whoever holds the highest ground holds the advantage. And right now, SpaceX, and by extension the United States, is quickly claiming that high ground, leaving much of the world trailing behind. Elon Musk now leads what might be the most consequential company on Earth. SpaceX has redefined modern spaceflight. The Falcon 9 became the first orbital-class rocket to be successfully landed and reused. The Falcon Heavy is now the most powerful operational rocket in the world. And through Starlink, SpaceX is building a massive constellation of low Earth orbit satellites, offering broadband internet especially for places that have been historically underconnected. These are major technological achievements. And even with all the controversy surrounding Elon Musk himself, there's little doubt that SpaceX and his broader portfolio of companies will go down in history as net positives for civilization. But there's clearly more at play here, because every great technological leap comes with trade-offs. Technology makes life easier, it extends our lifespans, it reduces the burden of labor. But it also expands our capacity to control or destroy each other. Take drones for example. At first, they were marketed as toys, tools for recreation and aerial photography. But it didn't take long for those same drones to be equipped with cameras, turned into surveillance vehicles, and ultimately tools of war. They are now used regularly in conflict around the world, including in the Ukraine-Russia war, where they've become brutally efficient weapons and reconnaissance vehicles. But here's something important. These drones, unlike traditional fighter jets, need constant connection. They rely on strong, stable networks to operate across large distances. And this is where SpaceX comes back into the picture. Elon Musk might insist his goal is Mars, but the creation of the Falcon 9 had another, more immediate purpose, ending the United States' reliance on Russia for space access. After NASA retired its space shuttle program in 2011, America had no way to send astronauts into space without using Russia's Soyuz spacecraft. The Falcon 9 changed that. With its successful crewed launch in 2020, SpaceX gave the US back its independence in space travel. And because the Falcon 9 is reusable, it made getting to space dramatically cheaper. SpaceX now routinely launches not just for NASA, but for the US Space Force and the Department of Defense. And it's also used to deploy Starlink, expanding SpaceX's satellite internet constellation. Starlink is already essential to Ukraine's defense. Most of the country's traditional ground communication networks were destroyed early on in the war. So now, Starlink powers everything from military communication, drone operations, and even civilian communications. Today, there are over 7,000 Starlink satellites in low Earth orbit. That's more than 60% of all active satellites in space. And SpaceX wants to grow that number to 42,000. If that happens, SpaceX could very well control the backbone of the planet's mobile internet, especially in crisis zones. At some point, satellite internet may no longer be just an option, it could become a necessity. That level of dominance brings power, and power like that can be easily weaponized. A mega constellation like Starlink could be used to disrupt or jam other satellites, or in more aggressive scenarios, it could embolden actions like the sabotaging of undersea internet cables, pushing countries to adopt Starlink out of sheer dependence. And that's where the concern comes in. Because it's one thing to innovate, It's another thing entirely to control the infrastructure that everyone else needs to survive and compete. The ambition to go to Mars is noble, but much of what's happening right now, that's not about Mars. That's about Earth. And as SpaceX moves further and faster than any other space company in history, we need to ask, who decides how this power gets used? And what kind of future are we building if one company, backed by one government, controls the infrastructure of the skies? Because while Mars may be the dream, Earth is still the prize. And what happens in the space between Mars and Earth, between innovation and control? That's where the real story is unfolding.